your screen any moment to notify you as such. I will send a recap along with all of the instructions that I kind of break down in regards to how to save your assets from Listing Concierge, and then not only save them and organize them onto your computer properly, but then upload them to a cloud storage partner. In my example, our partner is going to be OneDrive because that is what is included with the Office 365 suite as a part of your access to CB Desk. Now, the processes are generally going to be the same, regardless if you want to upload them to OneDrive or iCloud or Dropbox or Google Drive, what have you. The main goal, and again, for anybody that's worked with me, it's all about workflow. If you have this organized properly and set to go, then you will be able to get all of your assets saved, maintained, and uploaded for long-term storage without any problem or worry. Regardless if you have 2 listings in the system or 20, takes no more than about 15 minutes to save any particular listing and all of the assets associated with it. Now, a quick reasoning as to why we're doing this. I plug the TMAP for Agents call. There is one happening next week. It is absolutely beneficial for agents to be on that call. No other brokerage is as transparent in regards to the products that are being developed for agents. And if you guys want your input and you want to be in the know of what Coldwell Banker is doing, that is where you get that information. So I highly recommend you join those. Again, all the links I will send in the recap to the meeting. So everything you need will be there. But a brief breakdown of what's been going on in the TMAP for the last few months is Coldwell Banker has redeveloped in-house the software in which Listing Concierge lives. This way we are in control of it and can then make updates, changes, and additions to the platform on a schedule we dictate versus the schedule that was unable to meet our needs that the original third-party developer had crafted. Also, the foundation on which that software was built didn't quite accommodate all of the growth that Coldwell Banker was anticipating to have with the system. So for multiple reasons, we have developed it in-house and will now be managing ourselves. The trade-off with that, obviously, is that the stuff located in the original software will not automatically migrate into the new one. The reason you want to do this is just like any marketing asset, you need to make sure you have it in case you need it in the future, whether it be for personal branding, whether it be for presentation purposes, or whether it's just for business marketing, whatever the case may be. If you've had any kind of session or interaction with me, you've heard me say people hear with their eyes, consumers hear with their eyes. You will have a 1,000 better chance, I should say, of resonating with a consumer if you can show them what you do versus telling them what you do. Anybody can tell people something. If you have the assets with you, you can show them. This is what my television show looks like, and here's where it runs. These are what my brochures look like, and here's how they look. And all of that can be done digitally or in person. Enough talking. I'm going to go ahead and get started with this process. Now, like I said, please remain muted throughout the entire session. Feel free to include questions you have in the chat if you are worried about forgetting them. Otherwise, I will unmute at the end and we will take questions then. I am going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And let's dive right in. Like I said, we're talking about saving assets. And I'd like to note that in the recap, I'll mention this one more time, I do send out a survey. The feedback you guys give me is great, and it's going to help me be a better teacher. It also goes right to my management team, so I don't even see it initially. But anything you can provide, just like my colleagues, will help us and help us grow. So I always appreciate any feedback that you can give, even if it's just kudos, because my bosses like to hear that too. But one of the things is I've tried to slow these sessions down, and let's give it a go. To start with, we are starting on our computer's desktop. Why? Because again, workflow is important. What we want to do is create a new folder. I'm going to right click, new, and you want to create a new folder. I've already got one made for this example's purposes, and this folder is titled Listing Concierge Assets. If I open that folder, as you can see in here, I've got a handful of addresses already in here. I've got 123 Fake Street, 234 Blank Street, and 345 another street. And let's say I have purchased a grand total of 4 orders out of Listing Concierge. I've got 3 of them already saved. So essentially what we're doing is creating a hub in which all of the individual assets will get saved and organized. So inside of each of these subfolders are every single asset we can save for that listings order, all organized by listing. So what we're going to do is go into an account and save one last listing together and then upload everything in one big swoop to show you all how easy it is indeed. So to start, obviously, we go to CB Desk and we're going into, let's make that a little bit bigger. We're going to go into our Listing Concierge tile. Now, I am not an agent, but one of my agents, Willie, was kind enough to let me use his account. And like I said, let's say we had 4 orders in the system. And a good thing to double check, because obviously there's going to be duplicates from things coming in from MLS. There'll be self-service orders. The only things you want to save are the orders you paid for. Those have all the assets that are worth talking about. So we hit order history right here at the top that I highlighted, and this will show us all of our orders. Now, Willie has 2, but in my example, right, we've got those other ones already saved. And the first thing we want to do before we get started, this is kind of our checklist. It shows us all of the orders, what they cost, what we paid. This is also great for annual budget purposes to make sure you have on your budget sheet a breakdown of what you're doing quarterly for your listings. Now we download that PDF. And since I'm using Google Chrome, I can hit this little arrow. I'm going to hit show in folder. That's going to take me right to the downloads folder where that file just went. If I click on order history, I can indeed see it's the same thing as that sheet I was just looking at. Sorry, my apologies. I've got to sign into my Adobe account real quick here. Just because I'm going to open it a couple of more times as we look at some of these PDFs. Might as well sign in now. And here we go. As you can see, that is our order history. I am going to take this, and actually, because it doesn't apply to any specific listing, it's for the whole thing, we're just going to drag this, left click and hold will allow you to move something. And as you can see, when I hover over my Listing Concierge Assets folder, it says move to Listing Concierge Assets. I can let go. And just like that, it is moved out of my downloads into my assets folder. So when I open it now, I've got my listings and my order history. So moving on, I've got 3 of those 4 listings saved. And when I look at my order history, the last thing I need to save is this listing, 125 32nd Avenue. I'm going to go back to my listings. And we're going to go to that gold package, 125 32nd Avenue, and we'll start downloading all of the assets associated with it. First thing I'm going to do is create a subfolder for that listing because I've got the other 3 listings already in here. And I want to create a new one for this final listing. So I create a new folder, right click, new folder, and we are going to title it my address, 125 32nd Avenue, Santa Cruz. Bam, just like that, it's ready. Now let's go back into Listing Concierge. First thing we're going to hit is, again, we choose the appropriate order, and we're going to hit Manage Order. This is going to take us to our listing dashboard. Just like it sounds, it is a dashboard that has everything associated with the order that you paid for. This is a gold package, so all of our assets are located right here, and you can see what's been completed. And the cool part is a lot of this stuff is very easy to save, and it goes by the same way. Just going to kind of make this a little bit bigger so it's a little easier to see there. Things like the mailer, the brochure, the advertisement for the newspapers, your flyer, and your just sold postcards are all one easy click download. Same for the photos. And that's where we're going to start. That's the biggest thing we have to download. And what you can see right there under listing details, we've got photos. Now, this only applies if you used one of the 4 or 5, depending on your market, listing concierge photographers that are in our system. If you used a third-party photographer, you will have those photos probably saved somewhere else. So we're not going to talk about that. What we're talking about here is if you used one of our photographers, they've already been uploaded in here nicely for you. Everything's already set. All you have to do is hit this lovely select all button, and that will select them all like it sounds. And then what we want to do is hit high res. All you need to do is download the high resolution photos. You don't need low resolution photos. Why? Because you can make low resolution photos if you need them out of the high resolution photos. But you cannot turn a low resolution photo into a high resolution photo. So, with that being said, as you can see, my download has started. Like I said, this will take a little bit to download because there's usually a lot of photos and they are all of a high resolution. So as that goes, we're going to go back into our listing dashboard and start downloading some of the other assets we're going to need, like the mailer. All of these, like I said, are fairly simple to download. You are going to see a little gray arrow right underneath status completed. This has all of the approved verbiage you are using, all of the approved numbers that are involved. So all you have to do is download it. Hit that little arrow, download's going to start. We go back to the dashboard and we can click brochure and do the same thing. Download. And guess what? We're going back to the dashboard and we're going to click on advertising and we're going to click download. Now, this will only give you an image, basically a proof of what the advertisement looked like. You are not going to be able to see it in context to the paper unless you saved one of those papers. Let's say, for example, if you're in my region and you chose the Bay Area News Group, you've got 10 publications. You could get your hand on one of those 10 publications the time it ran, but if not, I would save this as an example, and you can always say this is what the ad looks like, and have a list of those publications, and you can say this is where that ad will go. But I digress. Moving on. We have downloaded it. Rinse and repeat. Let's go back to the dashboard. Just sold postcards aren't quite finished, but that would download the same way as the rest of this stuff. The flyer, all we have to do, these are all of your templates. We need to look for the one that was completed because you'll see add to property, add for shared listing, and you'll also have a download option, which the other ones do not. And guess what? We download it and we move on. We are back on the dashboard. So we've downloaded the mailer, the brochure, the advertisement, and the flyer. Postcard would be done the same way if you had it. And if you created a video slideshow or a social media banner, again, the same thing. You would click here and you'd be able to download it just like you would any of the other assets. Before we move all of these into the listing concierge folder that we've created, I just want to touch base one more time. If you had a platinum package or you purchased any additional photography service like a Matterport, there would be another option right here next to your photos that says your photography services. And for example, if you had a Matterport, you would have a link here that you could access and then save, much like your property website. Now, how would you save those things? Here's what I would recommend. You would go into, let's go back to your CB desk, and let's talk about Office 365. Now, this is where your OneDrive also lives. I'm going to hit stay signed in because your Office account is created with whatever your login is to the CB gateway. OneDrive is where we'll be in just a second. We'll put a pin in that. What we want to do right now is create a Word document. And I've already got one that I've created for this. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. But all you would do is hit new blank document. And this works just like a word processor because it is a word processor. You've got, all of the text you can add. First thing you want to do is click right up here. Give it a name. This is the links for 125 32nd Avenue out of V1. And as you can see, you paste all of your links. I copied a Matterport from another listing just to show you guys, just in case anyone's not familiar. These are those 3D virtual reality renderings. If you had one of these for your property as well, all you would have to do is get this link, copy, right click and copy, or Control C, and then come back in here and you just, add a little spot for what it is, Matterport, type in Matterport and paste, right click and paste, or Control V. Same thing. Let's get back here for your property website. We can click here. Now you've got, obviously you need to choose the one that was completed. It's got the little check mark next to it. We will click here and we can access that website. We're going to go to the URLs and all you need is the branded one because obviously this is for advertising purposes for you. We don't need any unbranded links here. So we can click here just to check what it is. Again, if you really want to show this off, we just grab this link, copy, Control C, come back here. You would type website just like I did, and then Control V or paste. TV ad. Sorry, let's get back to Listing Concierge. TV ad, like I did for the Matterport and the website, is right here. Your television and video ad, you can do two things. I recommend saving the link because you're doing everything else on that Word document anyway, and it's just this link right here. But what I'm also going to include is in the recap, I'll send you to this website that will allow you to download that video for yourself. Now, I teach a YouTube class that's separate from this, so I'm not going to get too far into it, but it is imperative that you are downloading these for your advertising purposes and utilizing them in the long term to, again, advertise yourself, have them on your own web page for broadcasting purposes, for SEO purposes. It's all very pertinent advertising for you. Sorry, I'm having a little bit trouble with the website I usually use. But again, I will send you that link so you have it. I think I'm just having a little bit of trouble because I've got a ton of stuff open right now too. Let's get to a working one. And again, I will include the link you need in your recap. But, occasionally websites go down. Am I having internet trouble? Let's see what's going on. Am I still on the call? I am still on the call. Let's try opening a new window here. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Sometimes this happens. I'm going to ask that everybody stay with me, and we will be right back after this commercial break of me trying to get to the website I need to. Obviously, my internet is giving me a little bit of trouble. We're doing a lot of stuff right now. It's a Friday. There's probably tons of people on the internet right now. Okay, hold on one second here. Just trying to see what I can do about my internet. I don't know why I can't reach the page I am looking for. But I digress. I actually have this already downloaded because I've taught this class several times. I will, of course, include the instructions on how to do so. I'm going to go ahead and restore that because I need it. But when you download your commercial, this is what you get. I apologize about not being able to show you it live. But as you can see, it is the ad that runs on at home in Northern California. So you'll download it using the share link on the website that I will share in your recap. So you can save that video as an MP4 to your computer. And as you can see, I'd restored it, so it already came back into my folder. But now the goal is to download it and save it into the appropriate folder of our Listing Concierge assets. Now we've got basically everything done. I've gotten the video saved. I've got my links. So now what I need to do with my links, I've got my page ready and I've titled it. We're going to go from File and we're going to hit Save As and we're going to download a copy. And between my links, my videos, all of those PDFs I downloaded, we have everything that is available from this system. The client report you will all get from your Listing Concierge coordinator. So always email them about that. E-flyer, it's really not important, but if you ever want, you can have one sent to yourself and save it for future reference. But the printable stuff is really what you want to show. The email flyer, you can always talk and speak to the exposure that it gets, and that is more pertinent to your sphere than it is Coldwell Banker's. But again, I digress. Moving on, we've got everything downloaded. Now what we need to do is move all that into the appropriate folder. So I'm going to go into my File Explorer, and I'm going to go into my Downloads folder where everything is. And we're going to start migrating everything into the appropriate folder. So first things first, I've got a ton of stuff here called Preview and a ton of numbers. That's obviously all the stuff I just downloaded. But for long-term purposes, we need to rename them so we know what's what. If I open this, I see, okay, that is my flyer. Right-click, rename, flyer. Let's open this one. It's my beautiful brochure. Rinse and repeat. Right-click, rename, brochure. This would be our mailer. We can call this mailer, we can call it just listed, whatever is easy for you. And this would make this our print advertisement. And our photos are right here. Those are our listing photos, and we've already downloaded our video and moved it into here. Now you can click and hold and drag each item individually. I'm just going to quickly select the rest of these four and move them over, along with my links for 125 32nd Avenue, Santa Cruz. And that is everything for this listing. I've got all of my assets downloaded and saved, organized in that folder. I've got all of the assets for my other listings saved. I've got my order history saved. We are all good to go. Let's say, examples purposes, now everything is done. Now what? We've got everything saved. This is a good short-term option, but the long-term plan is to save it on a cloud storage partner where, you know, hardware can always go bad on laptops, on computers, and then you could risk losing everything again. You've got a cloud storage option with OneDrive, so use it. Let's go ahead and close this, and we're going to go back into Office 365 and email, and we can take that pin out of OneDrive. And like I said, the process is generally the same regardless of what cloud partner you're using. All I got to do is click on OneDrive. Yours will probably look blank when you get here, but what you will notice, mine is set with my computer. I've got a lot of stuff in here. It works like any file explorer that you manage on your computer. You've got all of your items right here. When you click on one, it opens up so you can view all the items and subfolders therein. You can select an item to move it, to share it, to download it, to delete it. You can select multiple items to do the same. Move, share, download, delete. And as you can see, the default is sorted by name. You can also sort them by date modified, by whom, by size, etc. But all we care about are these buttons right here. You can create new items, or you can upload an item. Now, because we've already set up our workflow, we've downloaded everything, we've organized it, it's all ready to go, we only have one step here. You click upload, you click folder, and then we're going to choose our Listing Concierge Assets folder. And just like that, you hit upload and you'll see a progress bar start right here. Everything you have in those folders will start to upload and save into your cloud storage partner. And as you can see immediately, a few seconds ago, Listing Concierge Assets has been created and all of our files are starting to populate therein. Once they're done, this will go away and you are complete. You have downloaded everything and you've saved it for the long term. I am going to stop sharing my screen and go ahead and open up the floor for any questions. So I will first check the chat, but feel free to unmute yourself if you would like to ask anything. I've got a question from Lori. Does this take up a lot of room on your hard drive? In the grand scheme of things, no. I mean, even if you've got like 20 listings, the photography is what will take up the largest chunk of space, but they all download as zip folders. So in the grand scheme of things, the answer is no. It's not going to take up a ton of space. But the rationale behind putting them on your cloud storage provider is that A, that way it doesn't have to take up any space on your hard drive, and B, regardless of what happens to your hard drive, that information is stored and safe for the future. Is OneDrive personal and OneDrive Rheology accessible from each other? No. If you have a personal OneDrive, that is going to be different from the one that the company has for you. Obviously, you're not the payment of the OneDrive space is happening as a part of your ASP. So that is accessed, like I said, through the gateway, through CB Desk is how you will get to your OneDrive in my example. It will have the same login information as CB Desk. If you have a personal one, you can also utilize that if you would like, or if you have a Dropbox or a OneDrive or a iCloud, whatever the case may be. I use the OneDrive example here because it's something that's already included for you guys, so why spend extra money if you don't need to? Are there any other questions that I can help answer? I see Suzanne is typing something. You can also feel free to unmute. Oh, there is a question if I scroll up. Ah, I see. If we have created self-serving listing concierge options, such as a flyer and a website, do we need to save those? Can we recreate them? Good question. If you have any self-service items that you very much feel that you want to save, you will need to do it. If you're happy with those assets, I only talk about the ones you paid for because that's generally where the bulk of stuff is. There aren't a lot of, statistically, when we look at the program, there aren't a lot of self-service items in the system. If you want to save things like that property website or that flyer, you will need to do so. They will not carry over. And in VNew, everything will look a little bit different. We're going to have newer templates, newer designs. Everything's going to be a little bit fresher and a little bit easier. If we save the video to YouTube channel, do we need to save it to the cloud as well? If you've downloaded the video and uploaded it to your YouTube channel, there's no need to really do it again in the cloud storage partner. However, if you like that redundancy, I mean, there's really not there's really nothing I can say that, you know, goes against being, you know, having an extra backup, I should say. You had two more questions above, Suzanne. I will scroll. I only see the, let's see. Can we recreate them in the new listing contract? So no, you can't recreate things. Will there be a self-service option in the new platform? I believe, yeah, there are going to be self-service options. I don't know how many of them will be available at launch because There are parts of the program that are scheduled to roll out throughout the course of the year. Pardon me. I believe some of the self-service items are on the rollout versus the launch items.
It could be an addressable medical condition called Peyronie's disease, or PD, that is experienced by.
There will be free property website options in the packages. Like I said, I'm almost 100% sure there will be a self-service option as well. I can't speak to whether it will be available at launch.
When you watch film, you see superstar punishments.
Does that answer your question, Suzanne?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Thank
Are
you.
there any other questions I can answer for anybody? I know I'm a little bit over. I'm always a little bit over time. Awesome. I don't think there are any other questions. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.